Hey guys, this is Joseph Punnu and this is a very quick video as a guide on how to properly install your Enagic Kangen water machine. Alright, so let's jump in right away. Now, a typical connectivity is like this. Alright, assuming your water is absolutely potable, very good, as it comes out of your faucet, your tap, all you need to do is connect it directly to your Kangen Enagic water machine. However, in more cases than not, the water that we get from our taps is not that clean, not that drinkable. Indeed, the Enagic machines do have a built-in filter, so to say. It's a very high-grade filter, all right. It does remove a lot of impurities and so on, but nevertheless, you have to remember that Enagic machines are not water filters, all right. So this is something that you should see as a last line of defense, all right, and not your primary filter. Okay, so we need to be making sure that the water that goes into the Kangen machine is absolutely good and potable in terms of being clean and of the right TDS. All right, now typically we know that the water that comes from most of the taps is not so good, so what you would typically use is this kind of a water filter system, assuming the water that you get in your home or office is less than 150 in TDS. All right, now this could be one pre-filter, one sediment filter, one carbon filter, and that should do the trick, assuming the water you're getting in your home or office is reasonably good and it has a TDS of less than 150. It doesn't have any bad smell that you drink, when you drink, and so on and so forth. Now, if the TDS is more than 150, more than 150, then you are required to install between the tap and the Kangen machine an RO unit, okay, a reverse osmosis unit. Now, disregard the brand that you see here. It doesn't matter, okay. You could take any brand that you're comfortable with. We as Kangen distributors are not involved with any RO units or any filtration systems, but we are happy to give you the recommendations in terms of what goes where and so on. So you choose the model of your comfort. In other words, if you've got a RO unit sitting in your house already, there is no need to go and change that. All right, if everything is working fine and if it is giving you water which is less than 150 in TDS as an output, then that's pretty much okay too. All right, now what happens is, ideally, even the RO person is probably going to recommend that you add in a pre-filter over there. That's always a good idea. And now one of the things we find is that when you put up a RO unit, typically the force of water that we get from the RO unit as an output is not good enough to drive the ionization in the Kangen machine. All right, now what it means is the water outflow that comes from the tap of the RO unit is not strong enough or fast enough in terms of the flow rate to drive the ionization process in the Kangen machine, and therefore what you would typically need to do is to bring in a booster pump over there. All right, so from the water tap to the pre-filter to the RO unit to the booster pump and then to the Kangen machine. All right, so I hope that is clear, and this is an absolutely good idea. If it is less than 150 in terms of TDS, then pretty good. You can go in a straightforward a couple of filters here and then directly to the machine. If it is more than 150 TDS, then do consider putting a setup like this, which will give in good water for your Kangen machine and give it a very long life as well. Now, a couple of Kangen machine installations, examples, so to say. This is what I have in my house. I know this is a typical RO machine which has a storage tank of about 8 liters. All right, and this is pretty okay for me because most of the times we just use it between me and my wife. Now, perhaps you can see it here or not. There is a pre-filter here. Okay, so right from the tap it goes to the pre-filter there and then to the RO unit, and from the RO unit to the booster pump over here to increase the speed, and then to the Kangen machine. All right, so this is my stuff at home, and this works pretty good for us. Now, for a slightly larger family, where somebody I know has a unit like this, Now this is bigger capacity tank, a storage tank, as you can see, right? This is actually a 25-liter one. So the problem with this is that, when you use a RO tank, is that once the tank gets depleted, once the water comes from here, then you need to wait till the water fills up here again, all right? Now, Kangen machines in this particular SD501, which is shown here, for example, it has a output rate of 6 liters per minute, all right? The Super 501 goes up to 2 gallons a minute, all right? So, you can imagine how long this will last, all right? It's just a couple of minutes and the water is fully drained out, okay? You already consumed it. So when you want to take more water, if you've got more people there, you need to, however, sit and wait for the water to fill up here again, right? So if you have a bigger storage tank, it does help, so you can consider that as well. Now, it's very important that you choose your RO unit wisely, all right? Because you're making sure that the right water goes into your Kangen machine, and the least amount of scaling takes place, and it gives you more time as an interval to do your e-cleaning and so on, all right? So as we saw, this is one of the examples we saw in terms of the RO unit. Again, no preferences in terms of brand names. Feel free to pick up whatever you want. Now this one in particular has got about 8 liters storage, okay, this tank, and it takes about, and it has a 12 liters per hour time it takes to fill up, right? It has the capacity to fill up this tank in about 40-45 minutes, right? Because the speed at which it fills up is 12 liters per hour, right? So if that suits you, that's perfectly fine, all right? But honestly, sometimes even I find this a little less, because now we have started using it for literally everything, cooking, cleaning, everything, not only drinking, yeah? So it makes a difference over there. Now, this one is a slightly larger unit, and this one is, got a 25-liter storage. But this particular supplier also gives you the ability to set it up to, a liter per hour setting of 25 liters per hour, or 50 liters per hour, or 100 liters per hour, right? Which means that if you ask them to set it up for 25 liters per hour, this whole tank will take 1 hour to fill up, all right? Now, if you take 50 liters per hour, then this tank is going to take half an hour to fill up. 25 liters to fill up is going to take half an hour. And if you take the 100 LPH, obviously it's going to take only 15 minutes for the entire 25 liter storage to fill up. And therefore, if you have more people using this, it's going to be much more convenient for you to have water all the time in this tank. Because if water is not in this tank, then remember, your Kangen machine is not going to be able to produce Kangen water for you, all right? So you need to be plan out your things in there. Of course, if you have an office with many more people working over there, then you need an even larger tank, all right? So now this one, for example, is 100 liter storage with a 25 liter per hour kind of a setup, and this one comes with 100 liter storage and a 50 or 100 liter per hour, right? So that kind of things is what you need to consider, right? Don't plan out on your RO machine being smaller than you would require, right? I mean, I just supplied a machine to an office that has 70-80 people working over there. So if they want to take a 25 liter storage, for example, that's absolutely very, very smaller capacity, right? People have to stand and wait till the water fills up here in the tank, for them to have good Kangen water. So you might as well plan on having a bigger capacity over there. Again, at the risk of repeating myself, the brands don't matter, which company you get it from doesn't matter. But what I would definitely recommend is that you look for these things when you look for your RO unit. First of all, the storage capacity, which we talked about, the filling time or the liters per hour that it runs at, as we talked about, the filter stages. This is something, as a consumer or a customer, you may not be aware, but you can ask your Kangen distributor to help you out, and I'm sure he can advise you on that, he or she can advise you on that. And this could be sort of pre-filter, pre-carbon, filter, sediment filter, post-carbon filter, membrane filter, and a UV filter as well as an additional level if you wish, all right? A very important thing I would recommend is you look for the TDS settings, and I would always recommend to look for a unit which has a manual TDS, which means that if your service guy has come and set it up for you at 150 plus or minus a little bit here and there, after some time it's going to drop down, all right? Now I've seen the TDS going down to 30, 20, 10 and so on, right? Now this is bad. This is bad. The TDS stands for total dissolved solids, It should not be extremely high, like 1,000 plus and all. That is also bad for you when you drink it. At the same time, when it's extremely low, like 10, 20, 30, that's bad for you as well, because you do need some minerals that go into your body, right? So when you have a manual TDS, what happens is it becomes pretty much easy to set it up to plus or minus 150, all right? So this is what is the ideal kind of a TDS that is recommended to go into the Kangen water machine, all right? You would also look for a booster pump like we talked, because otherwise the flow rate is not going to be enough to drive the ionization in the Kangen water machine. And importantly, look for, the after sales service, because RO units always require after sales service, all right? The filters need to be cleaned and so on. In fact, they need to be replaced as well periodically, right? So if you don't have the right guy who is supporting you after that, this is going to malfunction, and then you're going to be unhappy with the water you're going to get out from Kangen water, also for no fault of the Kangen machine, right? So make sure that you have a proper company that supplies and gives you good after sales service. And finally, of course, you also need to be conscious about the price, because the bigger unit you take, the price is going to be more and more, and so you need to see what really you need. Don't go overboard. Just take what you need for your family or your office, and that should be perfectly fine, right? Like I said, this is the one I have at home, and usually it's more than enough for us, as a husband and wife team. And sometimes my children come home, and that's fine too, right? So that's about it. Now, people, when they see this kind of connectivity thing, they get a bit, worried. They say, man, what kind of installation is this? It's, aesthetically not nice. It is spoiling the look in my kitchen and so on. It is true. Couldn't agree with you more. I feel the same way. But then all I can say is that, the connectivities here are much more beautiful than what I can see here, right? We don't want this, because where you are talking about investing in health when you buy a Kangen machine, and therefore it has to be properly installed. Indeed, let's not even think of a situation where you have to spend on sickness. It has to be an investment in health, as we call it. All right, with that, this is Joseph Punnu signing off. I hope this was a useful installation kind of a guideline for you. I'm sure you can find somebody locally there in terms of the RO guys who can support you wherever you are. But if you need my help, feel free to connect with me. I'll help you out wherever you are in India. All right. With that, this is Joseph Punnu signing off. You take care, my friend. You rock.